For the better half of their career, Nickelback has existed as a punchline in music, seemingly universally agreed upon as the worst band of all time, far surpassing similarly joked about acts like Creed or Matchbox 20. But why? When did this happen, and is it even true? But first, a big thank you to today's sponsor, Factor. Factor is a meal delivery service that helps you meet your nutrition goals by delivering fresh, never frozen, delicious cuisine right to your doorstep. If you're too busy to cook, whether it's work, school, or whatever, this is an amazing way to eat well, skipping trips to the grocery store, and no need for chopping, prepping, or cleaning up. These tasty meals are ready in just 2 minutes, so all you have to do is take them out of the fridge, heat them up, and enjoy. I personally got the keto plan, and not only has it helped me save some much needed time, but the meals are so good. I enjoyed everything they sent me, from the queso fundido to Indian butter chicken, and here's me devouring the creamy, flavorful artichoke and spinach chicken. I've been working on myself a lot recently, and Factor has made it easy to stick to my goals. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code ALPHAMedia50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. That's factor75.com or click the link below and use code ALPHAMedia50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Around 1995, vocalist Chad Kroeger, his brother and bassist Mike Kroeger, their cousin drummer Brandon Kroeger, and rhythm guitarist slash backup vocalist Ryan Peake formed a cover band called Village Idiot, covering Metallica and Led Zeppelin. Peake explains the name, "Our small town, Hannah, Alberta, was almost village-sized, so I thought it was appropriate." Now, I know you're asking, where did Nickelback come from then? I wish I could tell you something more interesting, but Mike Kroeger found inspiration from his job at Starbucks, particularly from the frequency he repeated the phrase, "Here's your Nickelback," to customers. That's it. The end. Their second album, The State, got some local radio play. They were discovered by a scout for Roadrunner Records at one of their shows, who was particularly struck by the song Leader of Men, a straightforward rock tune with a bit of an Alice in Chains influence, and the band was signed in 1999. I am not a leader of men, since I Well, it turns out the more popular something is, the easier it is to make fun of. After they re-released that album to moderate commercial success, they received quite a bit of pushback from the harder rock and metal communities, who saw them as inauthentic and undeserving, compared to more hardcore label mates like Slipknot, as Roadrunner Records poured resources into Nickelback. Corey Taylor played a particular role in delegating Nickelback to the worst band of all time meme status, saying, "I'm glad they could use our money to make Nickelback happy. That's a very bitter subject for me, and if I see any of those fuckers, it's going to be brutal." He also called Chad Kroeger Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Moving on, Nickelback really became a household name in 2001 with How You Remind Me, when they gifted us with one of the most recognizable opening lines in butt rock history, "Never made it as a wise man," or should I say, "Never made it as a wise man." P.S. For the uninitiated, the term butt rock is a signifier for more radio-friendly, watered-down hard rock, usually specifically post-grunge stuff. Think these types of songs. If I go crazy, then will you still crawling in my skin? Hands up, back up. Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. How You Remind Me peaked at number 1 on both American and Canadian charts, producing a further slew of hit songs that played in constant rotation, quickly making them overstay their welcome to the music-listening public. I really feel like the crux of the issue is the fact that Nickelback was just not meant to be heard and seen as much as they were. The reason Creed jokes are so sparse now in comparison is that they only had a handful of hit songs and one absolutely unforgettable Thanksgiving halftime show photo with a flying bald man. We're able to look back at a lot of butt rock bands and reminisce about them while giggling and saying, haha, remember bow wada bow bada bada, because a lot of them were simply not as overplayed as Nickelback. And Chad Kroeger seems to know this, explaining, I think that because we write so many different kinds of music, I think that if you were listening to a radio station anytime between 2000 and 2010, 11, 12 even, we were kind of tough to get away from. Because if you didn't want to hear it and you changed to a different radio station, you'd probably hear it on there. And we were really tough to get away from. And so with that comes backlash. And then what happens is then comedians start making jokes, and then it starts making it onto TV, and then it makes it into movies and stuff like that. And then it just turns into this wave of it's fun to pick on, and it's an easy joke. And I get it, I understand. So he's pretty close there, but I think Tom Brin summarizes it a bit more succinctly. Nickelback took the raw sonic materials of the early 90s alt-rock boom, stripped away anything remotely countercultural, and became arguably more popular than any of the bands who directly influenced them. But are they really that bad? Well, no, and while they certainly are not the best, we here at Alpha Media have a great appreciation for the hits that made them rock stars. How You Remind Me going #1 was probably the root of most of the residual resentment we still see today, but you and I both know that this song goes hard. Kroeger wrote the song in about an hour following an argument with his then-girlfriend. He was trying to write something that would let him have the last word, saying, I wanted to write some lyrics that were a slap in the face to her. Even though I do say in the song that I love her, I kinda wanted to throw her a backhanded slap. So I was being very direct and yelling into the microphone, saying that she could hear what I was saying, and I was trying to be nasty, trying to put in these really sarcastic lines. Then she opened the door and she was like, what's that? I really like it. So it kind of defeated the object of what I was doing. We actually talked about it years later, and I told her I wrote the song about her, and she would not believe that she was the How You Remind Me girl. And while Chad's vocal stylings do kind of sound like he was gargling a glass full of nails before he got into the booth, it perfectly reflects the tone of the song, and those moments of clarity reveal some real talent. So this is not just style over substance. His voice oscillates between the somber twanging in the more reflective parts and the heavier post-grunge sections where it seems the couple is in the midst of an argument. People make fun of that old butt rock voice when they should be giving him some credit for being the guy that perfected it. Kroeger describes the writing process for another anthem, Savin' Me, like it held him hostage, calling it the hardest song he's ever written, explaining, we were like, the verses are so good, this is so good, and the chorus was just shit, until I sat there the one day and just played it, show me what it's like. That was a month on one song. Can you imagine listening to one song all day every day for a month? At the time I was like, I fucking hate this song. Now I love that song. We enjoy playing it and performing it, but giving birth to it was nasty. And while I desperately wish he framed it in any other way than giving birth, I think the product is another post-grunge classic. If Nickelback knows how to do one thing, it's build a rock song. The crescendo from softer to louder is particularly graceful in this track, and once again, the way they do things musically definitely plays well with the theme of the song lyrically. Let's take a moment to appreciate one of their tracks that stands out from their typical radio-friendly rock. Hero is not your standard Nickelback fare, but it's a testament to the band's versatility. Featured iconically on the soundtrack for the 2002 blockbuster film Spider-Man, this song was an unexpected gem. Hero showcases a different side of Chad Kroeger's songwriting and vocals. Gone are the gritty post-grunge tones, replaced by a more melodic and uplifting sound. It's a song that captures the essence of heroism and selflessness, fitting perfectly with the themes of the movie. Kroeger's lyrics are heartfelt, and his vocals, although still distinctively his own, take on a softer, more emotive quality. The track's instrumentation is also worth noting. It features acoustic guitar melodies and orchestral elements, creating a grand and cinematic atmosphere. The combination of Kroger's vocals and the music evokes a sense of inspiration and determination. Hero reminds us that Nickelback can step outside of their comfort zone and create a song that resonates on a different level. In hindsight, Hero might not be the song that comes to mind when you think Nickelback, but it's a testament to their ability to adapt their style and create music that suits various contexts. It's proof that even a band often maligned for their formulaic approach to rock music can surprise us with their depth. If Chad Kroeger is good enough for the Sam Raimi and count 'em, three Grammy nominations, we need to get our heads out of our butts and hear the music.
They say that a hero can save us. I'm not gonna stay.
Now let's turn our attention to my all-time favorite Nickelback song that deserves some nerd online to talk about how sick it is, Rockstar. This track is a humorous take on the excesses of the rock and roll lifestyle, and this is where people completely underestimate this band. They are totally in on the joke. Rockstar is essentially an anthem for anyone who has ever dreamed of the wild and extravagant life of a rock star. Chad Kroeger's tongue-in-cheek lyrics paint a vivid picture of a world filled with mansions, fast cars, private jets, and all the indulgences you can imagine. The chorus, where he lists off various things that he wants to be if he were a rock star, is catchy and fun. But the best part of this song is the inclusion of Billy Gibbons, singer and guitarist of ZZ Top, who is essentially doing ad-libs in between lines and speaking as Chad's conscience, or a genie, or God. I don't really know, but it's amazing. In verse 2, Chad sings, "Sign a couple autographs so I can eat my meals for free." And then Billy, as this omniscient wizard character, says, "I'll have the quesadilla, ha ha." This is where music peaked. While Rockstar may not be a profound piece of musical artistry, it's a reminder that music doesn't always have to be serious and deep. Sometimes a song that makes you smile and sing along is just what you need. It's a track that pokes fun at the Rockstar image while celebrating the allure of that lifestyle. In the end, it's fair to say that Nickelback is not the musical embodiment of evil that some have made them out to be. Are they in the same league as iconic bands like the Beatles or Radiohead? Absolutely not, but that doesn't mean that they haven't produced some enjoyable and even memorable songs. Let's start looking at this band's music for what it is. Catchy, sometimes humorous, and always unapologetically Nickelback. They may not be everyone's cup of tea, but they've undoubtedly left their mark on the rock music landscape. So while the jokes and memes about this band may persist, let's not forget that they've given us songs that have rocked the airwaves, made us laugh, and even tugged at our heartstrings. It's time to give credit where credit is due and acknowledge that Nickelback, for all the flack they've received, have had their moments of musical merit. After all, isn't it more fun to rock out to How You Remind Me and sing along to Rockstar than to constantly berate them? Perhaps it's time to let the Nickelback hate fade into the past and embrace the pleasure of their music. Not even the guilty pleasure, the Chad-filled, quesadilla cheese-dripping electricity of their sound. And you know what? This is how you remind me of what I really am. A Nickelback fan. Through and through. Hey, thank you for watching that video. If you want to support the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at RenshawHS. You can support me on Patreon, buy my merch, or on Twitch. And thank you again. I'll see you soon.